Welcome to the Story Nerd Podcast, Hook Your Reader episode. This is where we give authors our professional advice about their query letters and the first 10 pages writing samples. My name is Valerie Francis. I'm an author and a story editor, and I teach women who are writing in all genres how stories work so they can finish their books faster and without frustration.
And I am Kathleen Foxx. I am a literary agent at the Rice Factory, and I also have Fox Editorial, my editing business where I offer a wide range of services for authors.
This is our very first Hook Your Reader episode. So while writers are preparing their work for submission, we're going to do a couple of Ask Me Anything episodes. So today, Kathleen is going to answer all your questions about AI and the publishing industry. But before we get into that, we would love it if you would help other writers find our show simply by leaving a rating and review. Apple Podcast listeners, you can do it right from your phone. Just go to the show's landing page, scroll to the bottom, click the 5 stars. It is that simple. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. All right, Kathleen, AI. This is like,
Yes.
We're just starting with Pandora's box. All right. I'll just start with the first question, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a biggie. What is your take on how the future of authors will be shaped by generative AI? Because it's not hard to feel pessimistic about it. That's the first question.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you think?
I could probably talk all day about this topic. It's obviously a big topic in the industry these days. There's lots of it out there, and it's inescapable. It's everywhere. My thoughts on that, like AI, I mean, it's built to make our lives easier, right? But when it comes to the creative industry, I don't want the easy road, right? I want to, as a writer, and I don't have time to write right now, but as a writer, I want to put in the blood, sweat, and tears and be proud of that when I'm done. And as an agent, I want to work with authors who also feel the same way, who don't want to take the easy road. And it's not even necessarily easy, because if you're using AI to generate your book or parts of your book, you see what's happening in the industry and in the news. Like it's people are picking it out. And do you want to deal with that? Probably not. The other side of that is it's being flagged as AI, even though it's not AI. Like there's lots of stuff that's being fed into these AI, whatever they're called, these machines that tell you whether it's AI, and it's not AI. And it can come back with different results with the same information being fed in there multiple times. So it's not even reliable anyway. So writers are now experiencing this like fear of being called out for using AI because they're good at their writing. You know what I mean? Or they're using too many M dashes. Don't even get me started on that. I love
Yeah,
M
no.
dashes.
I now want to
I will
use
use
more
M
M
dashes.
dashes just for spite.
Yes. If you use M dashes, bring them on. I'm all about the M dash. I don't care about that.
Yeah. I edit myself in my prose, but in my emails that I send out, man, they're full of M dashes. They're full of exclamation points. I use them all there.
Yeah.
Lots of commas.
Like, and it feels very unfair to the readers who are putting the work out, or putting the work into it to produce something, to put something out there for other people to enjoy. So to be called out on using AI when you haven't used it, that's devastating. And how do you prove it? That's the problem. So
the issue of proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we pause on that one for a moment?
Yeah.
Because that's a big one. And it creatively, it breaks my writer's heart that we are in a position right now, and I think it's a temporary one. I really do. How long does define temporary? I can't. I don't think this is a a situation that will remain with us forever. But as we record anyway, how do you prove that you wrote it? My fear, and you said AI was here to make our lives easier. I think the reason AI is exploding is because it is allowing people to abdicate their responsibility for hard work. And I think the arts have zero tolerance for that. Like, this is not, and I can't really speak about other artistic endeavors. I can only speak about my own because this is the only one I know about. This is not an industry where you can cut corners because it'll come and it'll bite you in the ass right quick if you cut a corner. And AI is cutting a corner. So my fear is that very quickly the skill set to recognize what is good writing and what isn't good writing will vanish. I worry that it is vanishing anyway, because in the traditional publishing houses, the skilled people um, are leaving. Either they're retiring, or they're just not making any money, or the working conditions are not great, or they have other options. They want to do other things in their life. Whatever the reason, a lot of them are already leaving. So, so where is the understanding of the craft coming in? Now, that sounds kind of pretentious. The bottom line is that, does the book entertain the reader? There's no there is no, this is the book you should read and that's the book you shouldn't read because this one is art and that one isn't. I don't subscribe to that. But if we get to a stage where the people in the industry who are supposed to know about this stuff and who are gatekeepers, if you're looking at traditional publishing, there are gatekeepers. If they no longer have the critical skills to look at a piece of writing and know that it's human, know that it's quality writing, know that it's flat or yellow or, whatever, just know if it's good writing or bad writing. If we lose that skill, I think we're all kind of screwed. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
It's the problem too is that, I mean, AI is trained off of our work, our being the collective industry, right? It's trained off of stuff that humans have written. And so it's constantly getting better. It's quote unquote learning. Um, so it might not even necessarily, like, it is getting harder to detect as a human because it's getting better. And so there is that aspect too. And at the end of the day, there's also the ethical or the unethical aspect of it, right? So, and I don't understand how it all works, and I'm trying to picture this in my mind, but you have these centers that have these huge, massive machines basically that are running these AI programs, and it takes gallons and gallons and gallons of fresh water to keep them cooled. Um, for example, if I was to have a chat with my phone, to do some research on whatever, and we have a conversation, you're basically dumping a 500 milliliter bottle of water down the drain that somebody could be drinking. So there's that whole aspect too. So, like you talk about, don't use it for generating text. It's okay to use it for brainstorming and research and that kind of thing. It does save time. I know it saves time. Everybody wants to save time because that's the one thing that we never have enough of. But every time you use it, it's detrimental to humanity, basically, when you think about it. So there's that whole aspect of it as well.
I don't think it does save time. I have dabbled with it because I want to be able to speak about it. I don't want to just poo-poo the thing without trying it, right? I want to actually see what it does or doesn't do. So I have tried it for brainstorming. And what it's really good at is generating pages and pages and pages of crap that you then have
Yeah.
to go through and sift through and think critically about. And to me, it just took more time. And I have not yet ever found any of it helpful.
And
I
it's wrong some of
genuinely
the
haven't.
time. Yeah.
It's wrong a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very early on, and this was when I thought, well, maybe I could use it for text in a social media post because the social media manager that I was using at the time had that option. And quoted this story theorist from, I forget the university. It might have been Oxford. I can't remember the university now. And I thought, really? I didn't know about this story theorist. So I started to do some research to find out that there was indeed a professor with that name at that university, but in the economics department, had nothing to do with storytelling, writing, the creative arts, nothing. It was a totally false reference. And I just went, I'm out. Like, I can't use it for that. It's because it just made stuff up. Like, we've got to go back to this morals and ethics. Oh God,
Yes.
I sound so old when I say things like that.
No, it's right.
Is someone going to say, Valerie, prove that you wrote that manuscript? Well, how do I do that? Do you want to see the timestamps on the files? Do you want to see the last 5 years of my life? Do I have to videotape myself writing and another videotape? I'm old. Record myself writing and show you the words on the screen as I write them? How do I possibly prove it other
Yeah.
than I'm giving you my word? I wrote
Yes.
this. And no,
Yeah.
I didn't even have to use Grammarly. Why? Because I have been writing for 40 years. And that's actually not an exaggeration. I actually have been writing for 40 years.
Yeah.
I am that old that I have been writing for 40 years professionally since I was 25, right? So that's 30 years, um, which also makes me feel very old. But I know, like I do wonder about this. Like, are we going to get to that stage where, um, like you as an agent, say you get this manuscript that comes across your desk, and maybe it was, maybe it's a mix of AI and an author, and you don't detect the AI initially, or on your query manager site, when there's like a little box that says, have you used AI to write this? And they tick no, you take them at their word. Do you say to them, okay, I'm just taking you at your word? Do they have to prove it? Are we going to get to that stage? Tell me what your thoughts are about that.
My thoughts are kind of all over about that because it's scary, right? Like there's a lot of stress factors no matter who you are in the industry or what role you play. Um I don't want to not flag it, but I also don't want to, or sorry, I don't want to miss it. I don't want to not catch it, but I also don't want to, like I rely on my intuition a lot. There's a lot of things that I've been through in my life where I got to the point where I'm like, damn, why didn't you just listen to your intuition? It would have prevented all these problems. So I've been very, very mindful about relying on my intuition, and it's usually right. So
It's always
I,
right.
yes, yes. So when I'm reading something and I just, even that tiny little inkling where I'm wondering, could this have been AI? It just seems a little bit off compared to everything else that's written. But now my role is in jeopardy because if I flag it and I'm not right and they're just a really good writer, um, they're going to be like, "What? How dare you accuse me of using AI?" But if I don't flag it and it is AI, then my name is backed on that book if it gets published, right?
Yes. And that's your
So
professional reputation.
exactly. And I don't want to jeopardize that. I'm very, very clear about using AI, generative AI. Um, I I think, AI has been around for a little bit, but it's becoming more prominent now, and it's in your face every day, no matter where you are, what you're doing. And I think we're still, like you said, I don't think it's going to be as much of an issue as it is right now. We're kind of just at the beginning. We're entering into it and we're figuring out how to navigate it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, unfortunately.
I- there are a lot easier ways to earn a living. So if being a writer, if telling stories isn't something you are compelled to do, and you don't derive joy from the process of writing, then with all due respect, this might not be the right industry for you. Go and like our time is precious. Once the day is spent, it is spent. We're not getting it back. So spend it doing something that does give you joy. So that's one thing. I think a lot of the people who are just trying to crank out books in order to get rich quick or to generate quick money are not going to last. Um, because that's not the point of this job, right? That's not the type of person who stays around in this industry. The person who stays around and writes book after book after book is the person who is compelled to tell the story. They have stories in their head and in their hearts, and they want to tell it. And storytelling is a very human thing. It's from one human, and novels are very personal. They're very intimate. It's one writer talking to one reader at a time. Now, the author might sell 1 million books, but it's 1 million one-on-one relationships,
Yes.
right? It's stories talk about the human experience. AI will never be human. It will never have a soul. So you talked about instinct. That is very human. And I think readers are going to know it on an instinctual level. If they can't point to the passage on the page that flags it as AI, something will feel weird to them.
Hmm.
They might not even know that it's AI. They're just not connecting with the story, or something will feel off. Readers are smart. They're
Yes.
they're going to pick up on it. And all of this AI use is all from the me perspective. This is going to make my life easier. Well, what about your customer in whatever business you're in? In our case, what about our reader? Does our reader want to read an AI generated text? Because if they do, guess what? They can generate it themselves. Why would they your pay for your generated text when they can do it themselves and make themselves the hero of the story? If you're writing a
Hmm.
love story, they can make themselves the heroine and put in the man they have a crush on, or the movie star they would love to be in a relationship with, and Bob's your uncle. They're off to the races. Far more interesting to them than whatever you can write. So I don't think writers who, I was going to say, are true writers. That's not a fair thing to say. Someone who is compelled to write will be compelled to write themselves, because that's what we do. That's who we are. And readers who love stories aren't going to want anything that's generated by AI. They're going to want a story that resonates with their soul, which is all we've ever wanted since time began.
Hmm.
We want an emotional connection with the text. So that's what I have to say about that right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. The emotionality is very, very important. That's what we read for, right? We want to see ourselves in a story. We want to see ourselves in another character. We want that emotional connection so that we're rooting for the protagonist as they go on their journey. Um, Something that I was just in a meeting with a client and a publicity manager, and this topic did come up about, like something you could potentially do. Like, people are always wondering, like, what can I do to prove that this was mine and that I don't use generative AI? I mean, the first thing is kind of what you were saying too. If you're feeling compelled to write and this is your calling, or some piece of your soul just has to tell stories, keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, but also having some kind of a presence. And I know not everybody does social media or newsletter or any of that stuff, but it might become more important to have a presence or to build a presence and to make it known what your stance is on AI. Because, like, if an agent or a publisher can go back, let's just say 5 years from now, they can go back 5 years and see that you're very vocal about not using generative AI. That says something. That says something about who you are. So, I guess kind of like creating a paper trail. And it's not direct proof because anybody can say that, but it gets to a point, I think, where the more open you're about it, the more you talk about it, the more you have conversations with other people about it, and the more you make it known publicly. If you want to have a book, you're going to be in the public, in their eye, right? So be public about that, because that can be helpful.
This comes back to the basics of it's kind of human decency. Be open and honest. Like when all of this started, I said to Melanie, when we write the little blurbs about what our episodes are about, I said, let's just start signing them with a V or an M, depending on which one of us has written it,
Mhm.
because we could tell that a lot of them were just being pumped out and were sort of bland texts that weren't at all compelling. I said, well, this is an opportunity for us to just show up as us. And so when the podcast shows up in someone's feed and there's the little blurb, it'll be like a dash V or a dash M, depending on which
Mhm.
one of us wrote it. The only place that we're using AI right now is on the Story Nerd website. We have all the episodes are there. There's the recording of the episode. There's the blurb that Melanie or I have written, or sometimes both of us have written it. Like if it's the Christmas episode and we're both saying Merry Christmas to everybody or Happy Holidays, whatever. Then below that, we have clearly indicated the following text was generated by AI, and it's a longer paragraph that talks about what is in the episode. And that is the text that is cranked out by either Riverside.fm, which is the software I use to record the episodes, or a software called Headliner, which I will sometimes use to create social media clips. Both of them will offer up a little summary of the
Mhm.
podcast, but I flag it because, again, I guess it's kind of like creating a trail. I just want to be honest. And you can tell there's zero personality in it. I don't know if anyone's read it. I don't know if it's useful to anybody. I don't know if we'll keep doing it. Um, but that's the only place we're doing it, and we're flagging it. Just as and that's sort of no one is making us do that. That's a decision that Melanie and I made because we want to be honest about who we are and what we're doing, and that
Mhm.
it is us showing up. Like, even on this is part of the reason why, we're putting the podcast on video on YouTube, because there is a company called 11 Labs who can mimic your voice. And so you could be listening to a podcast and the it's not actually the person you're listening to, it's just AI that's mimicking their voice. And I'm like, "We're showing up and
Yeah.
doing all this work. Let's just hit the record, let's turn the video on so that they can see us."
Yeah.
And this is actually us, and we'll hopefully do some lives just to show that, yeah, this is who we are. And I think then this is what writers are gonna need to do, which is tough because, unlike me, most writers are introverted. I'm extroverted. I just need a microphone and an audience. Really, that's all I need. Um, we're gonna have to start showing up and building a rapport with our readers.
Mhm.
And it's something like you as an agent will take us years and years and years to build up that trust with our readers and your clients, but it'll only take 5 minutes to destroy.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to take your stand on it and be honest about if you're using AI, be honest about it. Yeah, I'm using AI to write the first draft, or it's mostly AI and then I'm just tweaking it at the end. Just whatever you're doing, be honest about it, because that lets the people you're doing business with, whether it's an agent or a bookseller or your reader, it allows them to make a decision based on what they want and they need, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You know what? I was just thinking about this. This popped into my head as you were just saying that. We don't know where this is gonna go. No one has a crystal ball. And, we've said that, like, people don't want AI generated books. Who are we to know for sure that there isn't a group of people out there that are like, yeah, I want an AI generated book. That's awesome. Right. So who knows? Maybe it'll turn into an industry where these publishers have a department that focuses on AI generated books for these AI generated readers. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're real
Reader
readers. They're not
readers
AI
who want
generated.
AI. Readers who want AI
Yeah.
generated novels.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And and that comes down to being honest about how you're producing your work. Is it AI generated? Be honest about it. Who knows? Maybe there will be a market for that. Maybe that's the direction this will go, but be honest about it because the people that don't want that don't want that. So they shouldn't be force fed it, I guess,
They
in a
shouldn't be
way, right?
tricked. It's the
They shouldn't be
trickery of it
tricked.
all.
Yes.
Oh, it's
It's
just
maddening. It's frustrating.
and it just it leaves you
It's
with an icky
dirty.
sort of feeling. Yeah.
Something that I've been thinking about lately is that everything that seems to be going on in the world that is evil or dirty or whatever, it all boils down to greed. It all
Yeah.
if you really think about it, it all boils down to greed. I used to say everything boils down to money, but underneath that is greed. And so I think, like people are it's a way to cheat. It's a way to cheat the system and say it's yours and make the money for it when you didn't have to put into the work. Like how are you proud of that? That's what I like how can you put your name on something that you didn't write and be proud to say, "Oh yeah, this is my book." It's really not your book if you didn't write it. So what's underneath that? Greed is that's my opinion. Um, like it all comes down to that. And I think I don't know. I don't know if there's maybe some way to like determine, but like that's what I mean. Like if you have a presence and your personality, like if you're out there and your readers are getting to know you and you don't seem greedy or egotistical or dirty or sneaky, like they can get to know you. If you're honest and you're open and communicative online and you have that presence, then people kind of get to know who you are. They can tell who you are. Like you said, readers are smart. People are smart. And they can start to determine who might be the ones that are using AI because they're not saying that they're not using AI and their personality might be a little bit different. I don't know. I mean, that's just me speculating, but yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And I think the greedy people who are doing it for greedy reasons, they're not honest. You have to be honest about it. I guess if you're going to use it, use it ethically. Be honest. Be honest.
Yeah.
That's what it
Just be
comes down
honest.
to.
Well, we've got a huge list of questions, and I've just been reading down through them. And I think we have actually covered everything except one. So I'm going to ask to finish off, I'm going to ask you this other question that we haven't touched on yet.
Mhm.
All right, Kathleen, do you believe that the industry should or will take a larger stance on denouncing AI and protecting writers? Oh, it's another big question.
Yeah, that is, you know what?
No
Again,
softballs here on Story Nerd, Kathleen. We're
no,
throwing all the hard ones at you.
I think we are starting to see again, like I said before, like we're just kind of entering in this phase, this AI phase in the grand scheme of things, right? And I think we are starting to see that the industry is pushing back on it, right? Like this whole Shy Girl thing, Hachette pulled out, and that's a big publisher. And so for them to take that stand, that says a lot. And I think that shows readers and writers something, right? Like that shows them where they stand on it, where the line is. Um, yeah, so I think that the industry is starting to do that. But like the other things that we were discussing, like how do you know for sure it's AI? How do you know for sure that's flagging accurately? Like there's so much that goes into that. So I think in order to make that decision, you would have to be damn sure that that's the way it is, right? That it's accurate. And you are saying something by doing that. You're also saying something by not doing that. So we're just getting into this. It's becoming a huge thing. It's blowing up very fast, and we're all learning how to navigate it. So I do think the industry is doing exactly that. They're learning how to navigate it in an ethical way, and those who aren't going to do it in an ethical way, those maybe are the ones we want to stay away from.
We're going to have to circle back to this whole conversation about AI when Melanie can join us
Mhm.
because she's really clever about this stuff, far more than I am. And she's got a really great perspective on AI and what it's for and how it's working. So I think we'll leave it there for now because we have covered the questions that came in for the Ask Me Anything. Um, and and everyone listening, stay tuned because we're going to figure out the schedules between Canada and Australia, and we'll get Melanie in on a conversation because she's got some great ideas that I know you all will love to hear. And we'll circle back for another Ask Me Anything AI edition in the future. Stay tuned. All right. So, with that, we're going to wrap it up. If you want Kathleen and I to review your query letter and your first 10 pages writing sample, go to storynerd.ca. You'll find all the information there about how to submit. To support the show, as always, we would love it if you could leave us a rating and review and tell your writer friends about us. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. To join my inner circle, go to valeriefrancis.ca/inner circle. And you can also head over to KathleenFoxAgent.com, and that's Fox with 2 X's, for all of Kathleen's information and the links on her editorial services, her agent wish list, and she's got a new Substack newsletter called Kat's Keynotes. You're definitely going to want to subscribe to that. And remember, story theory does not have to be difficult. It's a tool to help you write more, not less. So take it one step at a time and have fun.